All right. Buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving headfirst into a world
Sounds good.
that could seriously shake things up.
Hey.
In the financial world,
Right.
we're talking tokenized securities and a company called 21X
Okay.
that's ready to really make some waves.
I'm excited.
I think you're going to like this one.
Tokenization is really fascinating. It's not just a buzzword. It's got the potential to like totally change finance as we know it.
Democratize it.
Exactly.
Open up access to investments that like most people could only dream of before.
Exactly.
So let's get right to it. Give me the rundown. What is 21X?
So 21X, they're based in Frankfurt, and they are building this exchange from scratch specifically for tokenized securities. And what makes them really interesting is they're going to launch in early 2025 on the Polygon blockchain.
So Polygon, tokenized securities. I mean, for people like me who maybe aren't like crypto experts, what are tokenized securities?
Okay, so think of it this way. It's like you're taking a real-world asset, anything from stocks and bonds to real estate to a famous painting, and you're creating a digital copy of that on a blockchain. That digital copy, that's the token.
So instead of a paper stock certificate, you have a digital token saying you own a piece of Apple or something.
Exactly. And the cool part is you can divide these tokens into smaller pieces. So you could own like a tiny little bit of a really expensive Picasso.
Fractional ownership.
Yeah.
I like it. I've always wanted a little piece of Monet. But before I go and cash out my savings for digital art, tell me more about how these tokens work.
Sure.
How do they prove ownership?
So basically, the token is linked to a smart contract on the blockchain. And that contract has all the info about the ownership, the rights to the asset, how it can be traded. And because blockchains are so secure and transparent, it makes the whole process way more efficient and way less prone to fraud.
Which is it's all backed up by the blockchain security. So back to 21X.
Yeah.
What exactly will people be able to trade on their platform?
So they're aiming for a pretty wide variety of assets. You'll have your typical tokenized stocks and bonds. But they're also exploring things like funds and even the more unusual assets we talked about, real estate, artwork, you name it.
That's pretty ambitious. But let's get to the big news. They just got a huge green light from BaFin.
Oh, yeah.
The German financial regulator.
Yeah.
What does this mean for the industry?
So this wasn't handed out. BaFin really scrutinized 21X for 18 months. It wasn't easy. And they had some heavy hitters involved. The German Federal Bank, even the European Central Bank.
Okay, so this is not some small-time operation.
No, not
It's a sign that the big players are taking this tech seriously.
Exactly. And it's worth noting that 21X got its license under the EU's DLT pilot regime, which is designed to encourage innovation in blockchain while making sure everything stays within a regulatory framework.
So it seems like 21X is at the forefront of this whole movement.
They really are. But they're not alone. Even giants like BlackRock are getting into tokenization.
That's interesting. What does that tell us about where the industry is headed?
Well, BlackRock, they're the world's largest asset manager. And their interest in this shows that this is not just some passing fad. This is a sign that traditional finance is starting to see the power of blockchain.
The CEO of 21X, Max Heinzel, said, and I quote, "This is more than just a license. It is a revolutionary moment for the capital markets."
Wow.
Do you think he's exaggerating? Or could this really change the world of finance?
It's a big statement for sure, but I think there's some truth to it. The potential is huge. Increased access, transparency, efficiency in the markets, settling trades instantly, investing in assets all over the world with the click of a button, all within a secure, regulated environment.
That sounds pretty amazing.
It really does.
But let's be realistic. What are some potential risks or downsides that we need to be aware of?
Right. Well, no technology is without its risks. One concern is regulation. Europe's making progress with things like MiCA, which sets standards for crypto assets. But globally, things are still pretty fragmented. We need clear, consistent rules everywhere to protect investors and keep the market stable.
Regulation will be key.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who are hearing all this
and
maybe feeling a little lost, what's the main takeaway?
I'd say the main takeaway is that finance is about to change in a big way. tokenized securities have the power to change how we invest, how we access assets, even how we think about value itself.
That's a really interesting point. It's not just about making things more efficient. It brings up all these new questions about ownership, about value, about what money even means in a digital world. It's a lot to think about.
It really is, and that's what makes this so exciting.
Totally. So for everyone listening, here's a thought as you go about your day. Could this be the beginning of a future where owning a piece of a masterpiece or a landmark is as normal as owning stocks? And what does that mean for wealth and investment?
That is the question.
It really is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into tokenized securities.
I think this is just the beginning of a much bigger conversation.
I think so too.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.
On The Deep Dive.